Over 300,000 people could be at risk of losing their right to stay in the UK starting January 2026, and most of them don't even know it yet. Tough new immigration rules are coming into force, and if you or someone you know is living in the UK on a visa, these changes could flip your entire life upside down. From stricter English tests to visa refusals for minor mistakes, even a small paperwork error could now lead to deportation. And here's the twist. Some laws apply even if you've been here for years, working, studying, or raising a family. The rules are changing fast, and many people are already falling through the cracks. So, who's really at risk? Could you be one of them? Stay with me, because in this video, we're uncovering 10 immigration laws that could force people out of the UK in 2026. Number 1. Higher English test requirement. Starting January 8, 2026, the UK government is raising the bar for English language skills, and this one change alone could cause thousands of visa renewals and applications to be denied. Under the new rule, applicants for many visa categories, including skilled worker visas, family visas, and student visa extensions, will be required to pass a B2 level English test. That's equivalent to an A-level standard, a much more advanced level than what was previously accepted. Now here's where it gets serious. Many people who are already living, working, or studying in the UK might not meet this new language requirement, especially those who arrived under older, more lenient rules. If they can't prove their English skills at this higher level, their visas may not be renewed. And without a valid visa, staying in the UK becomes illegal, forcing many to either leave voluntarily or face potential removal. This change is especially dangerous for applicants who assume their current status guarantees future approval. It doesn't. If you're planning to extend your visa, change your job, or apply for settlement, this new English standard applies. Even minor delays in taking the test or submitting proof can result in rejection. Immigration lawyers are already warning that this will be one of the biggest reasons people are refused visas in 2026, and many won't realize it until it's too late. The best advice: start preparing now if your visa depends on meeting the English language requirement, because failing to act could mean losing your right to stay in the UK. Number 2. Electronic travel authorization. From February 2026, a new rule will affect millions of travelers and migrants who come to the UK from countries that currently don't require a visa. It's called the Electronic Travel Authorization, or ETA, and if you don't have it, you won't even be allowed to board your flight. The UK is following in the footsteps of countries like the United States and Australia by demanding pre-approval for all non-visa travelers. This includes tourists, business visitors, and even people coming to visit family for a few days. At first glance, it might sound like just another online form, but the consequences of not having it are extremely serious. People from countries like the EU, US, Canada, and Australia, who've never needed to apply for anything before, could be refused entry at the airport gate if they forget or misunderstand the new process. Immigration officers will be able to block you from flying, even if you've bought your ticket and made all your plans. And once refused, your future chances of approval can drop dramatically. This means one small mistake, forgetting to apply, entering incorrect information, or assuming the rules haven't changed, could lead to missed flights, lost money, and even long-term immigration consequences. The ETA system is being introduced in stages, but by early 2026, it will be mandatory for nearly all short-term travelers. It doesn't replace visas, but if you're from a visa-free country, it becomes your only permission to travel. So, whether you're a student on a break, a family member visiting loved ones, or a business person attending a meeting, make sure you're not left behind. One missed application could shut you out of the UK completely. Number 3. Stricter rules on criminal records. In 2026, the UK is enforcing tougher immigration decisions based on criminal history, both in the UK and abroad. Under the new rules, even minor offenses committed years ago could now result in visa refusals, cancellations, or forced removal from the country. This means anyone applying for a visa, renewing their status, or even seeking permanent residency could be flagged if they have any kind of criminal conviction, regardless of where it happened. The government is cracking down with a message: if you have a record, you may no longer be welcome. This doesn't just apply to violent crimes or serious offenses. Repeat driving offenses, public disorder charges, or even low-level fraud or theft convictions can now be used as grounds for removal. What's more alarming is that these decisions are no longer only based on the crime itself, but also on whether the Home Office believes the individual poses a risk to the public, a subjective judgment that could vary from case to case. People who have lived in the UK for years could suddenly find their past catching up to them, with little time to respond. The most vulnerable are those who have lived here for a long time and believe their past was behind them. Under the new system, any criminal record could be re-examined, and even if someone served their sentence or paid a fine, it might not matter. If the Home Office decides your presence is not conducive to the public good, your visa could be cancelled, and you could be removed. The takeaway is clear. If you or someone you know has a criminal record, no matter how old or minor, it's crucial to get legal advice now. Waiting could mean losing the right to stay. Number 4. Visa refusal for breaking past immigration rules. One of the most overlooked but dangerous changes coming in 2026 is the UK's new approach to past immigration breaches. If you've ever overstayed your visa, worked without permission, or failed to follow the terms of your stay, even just once, that record could now be used to refuse your future visa applications. This includes everything from student visa holders who worked too many hours to people who stayed even a few days past their expiry date. What was once seen as a minor mistake could now lead to permanent consequences. Under the updated rules, the Home Office is being given broader powers to look into your full immigration history, not just your current status. If you've breached immigration rules before, even unknowingly, your next application could be automatically refused. That means anyone applying to extend a visa, switch to another category, or apply for settlement or citizenship might suddenly find themselves rejected and ordered to leave the UK. There's no grace period, no second chance, and in many cases, no appeal from inside the country. What's even more worrying is that these refusals don't just impact you. They can also affect your family. A refused application could lead to entire households being told to leave, especially in cases where children or partners are dependent on one person's immigration status. So if you've ever made an immigration mistake in the past, no matter how small, it's essential to get your paperwork in order and seek advice before your next application. In 2026, the UK's immigration system is shifting to a zero-tolerance approach, and those who aren't prepared could find themselves out of time and out of the country. Number 5. New country removal agreements. The UK government is now signing more return agreements with foreign countries, allowing faster deportation of people who no longer have the right to stay in the UK. In late 2025, the UK confirmed new deals with Angola and Namibia, and placed pressure on countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, which had previously refused to take back their nationals. These new arrangements mean that, starting in 2026, removal flights will become quicker and more frequent, especially for those with expired visas, failed asylum claims, or criminal records. In the past, one of the biggest obstacles to deportation was that some countries refused to cooperate. They wouldn't issue travel documents or accept returnees. But now, with these formal agreements in place, the UK can fast-track removals, bypass legal delays, and even deport people without lengthy court battles. People who've been in the UK for years without legal status, or those who've recently had their visas cancelled, will no longer have the time or legal protection they once did. Even individuals with pending appeals or unresolved issues may be caught in the net if their home country agrees to take them back quickly. The message is clear. If your immigration status is uncertain and your country has a removal deal with the UK, you're at much higher risk of being forced to leave in 2026. This is especially important for migrants from African and Asian nations currently under negotiation with the UK. Even those with ongoing cases or temporary permissions should be cautious. A change in policy or legal status could lead to sudden removal. In short, these new return agreements are making it far easier for the UK to say time's up and put people on a plane home, whether they are ready or not. If this video is helping you understand these changes, pause for just a second and show us some love in the comments. Your words truly keep us going. We pour hours into every detail so you don't have to. So please hit that subscribe button It's just one click, but it means everything to us. Number 6. Tougher rules for settlement applications. From 2026, the UK is planning a significant overhaul of how migrants can apply for indefinite leave to remain, ILR, also known as settlement. This is the status that allows someone to stay in the UK permanently without time restrictions. But soon, fewer people will qualify, and many may find themselves forced to leave when their visas expire. One of the key proposed changes is that time spent on certain visa types may no longer count towards settlement, meaning years of living legally in the UK could be suddenly invalidated. Another major change is the possible extension of the qualifying period for settlement. Right now, many can apply after 5 years of continuous residence, but this may soon be increased to 6 or even 10 years, depending on your visa category. For thousands of long-term residents, this means they'll need to renew their visa at least one more time. And if they fail to meet the requirements under the updated rules, they won't be able to settle or stay. Even people who've built their entire lives here could suddenly be told they no longer qualify. This shift could impact everyone from skilled workers and entrepreneurs to families and students hoping to remain in the UK long-term. Many who are planning to settle soon might now face long delays, higher costs, and new legal hurdles. And those who don't act in time, or who simply can't meet the new criteria, may find themselves without a valid visa and under pressure to leave. It's a wake-up call. If you're planning to apply for settlement in the UK, start preparing early, gather all required documents, and get legal advice. Because in 2026, the rules will be stricter, and the consequences of missing out could be life-changing. Number 7. Stricter work visa requirements. Beginning in 2026, the UK is tightening the eligibility criteria for skilled worker visas, which could leave many migrants unable to renew their stay or apply for new jobs. The biggest change is that only degree-level roles or officially recognized occupations will now qualify under the new points-based system. Jobs that were once considered eligible, such as lower-level administrative, hospitality, or care roles, may no longer meet the required skill or salary thresholds. This puts thousands of current visa holders at risk of losing their legal status if their role is reclassified or no longer accepted. The new system also demands a higher level of English, updated qualifications, and, in many cases, proof of continuous employment with a licensed sponsor. If a worker wants to switch employers or move to a different job within the UK, they may now need to submit a completely new visa application, which is subject to the stricter rules. If that application is refused, the individual may be required to leave the country within 28 days. Even those with long-standing employment could face rejection if their job title or salary no longer fits the updated list of eligible roles. Employers, too, are under pressure. Sponsoring foreign workers is now more complex and costly, leading many companies, especially smaller ones, to stop offering sponsorship altogether. This leaves migrants with fewer options, and in many cases, no realistic path to stay. So if you're on a work visa, or planning to apply for one in the future, it's more important than ever to double-check that your job is still eligible, ensure your employer is licensed, and prepare for a system where fewer roles are accepted and more people are asked to leave. Number 8. Higher income threshold for family visas. In 2026, the UK is making it significantly harder for British citizens and settled residents to bring their spouses, partners, or children to live with them by raising the minimum income requirement for family visas. Until recently, the income threshold was just over £18,000 per year. But under the new rules, it's jumping to £29,000 annually, with further increases already being discussed. This means that anyone who doesn't earn enough, even if they have a legal right to live in the UK, might no longer be able to sponsor their own family to stay with them. This change is expected to affect thousands of working-class families, especially those in part-time jobs or living in areas with lower wages. People in sectors like retail, hospitality, social care, or self-employment may find themselves suddenly ineligible to meet the financial requirements. And the consequences are harsh. Visa applications will be refused, families may be split across countries, and those already living in the UK under a family visa could be forced to leave when their current visa expires if the sponsor no longer qualifies. The emotional and financial toll is likely to be devastating for many. What's even more alarming is that the government is not offering flexible alternatives. Savings and joint income may count in some cases, but the bar is now so high that many ordinary households will be priced out of the system entirely. Legal experts and human rights groups have warned that these rules risk turning family life into a privilege only for the wealthy. If you're planning to sponsor a partner or dependent family member, start preparing now, because failing to meet the new threshold could mean being separated from the people you love or facing pressure to leave the UK altogether. Number 9. Tougher rules on access to public funds. One of the more silent but serious shifts in the UK's immigration system is the growing restriction on access to public funds, including benefits like universal credit, housing support, and child-related payments. In 2026, the government is expected to expand its policy of no recourse to public funds, (NRPF), to cover more visa categories and extend the time migrants must wait before they can access any financial support. This change might not seem dramatic at first, but for many low-income families and vulnerable individuals, it could be the deciding factor in whether they can afford to stay in the UK. For migrants already struggling with rising living costs, this means there will be no safety net if they lose a job, face illness, or go through a crisis. Previously, some visa holders could apply for temporary relief or exceptions, but under the new approach, the system will be much less flexible. Anyone found claiming benefits unlawfully, or even applying for help without realizing they're ineligible, could face visa cancellation and possible removal. And for new arrivals, the waiting period before becoming eligible for support could stretch for several years, regardless of how long they've lived or contributed to the UK. The ripple effect of this policy is massive. Families may be forced to leave the UK voluntarily because they simply cannot afford to live without assistance. Others might fall into debt, homelessness, or other dangerous situations while trying to stay under the radar. The government's message is clear. If you're coming to the UK, you need to be financially self-sufficient from day one, or risk losing your right to remain. So if your visa status depends on financial stability, now is the time to review your options, prepare your savings, and plan for a future with fewer support systems in place. Number 10. Crackdown on illegal migration and asylum claims. The UK is entering 2026 with its most aggressive crackdown yet on illegal migration and asylum abuse. Under the Illegal Migration Act and related policies, the government is pushing forward with plans to detain and remove anyone who arrives in the UK illegally, regardless of their reason for coming. This includes people who cross the channel in small boats or arrive without proper documents. Even if they claim asylum after arrival, their applications may be blocked automatically, especially if they came through a safe third country. The aim is to make it impossible to stay in the UK if you enter unlawfully. This shift is backed by new partnerships with countries like Rwanda, where some asylum seekers may be sent for processing and not allowed to return to the UK at all. Starting in 2026, removals under this system are expected to increase sharply, with fewer legal challenges allowed and less time given to appeal. Even vulnerable individuals, including those fleeing war or persecution, may be impacted if they are deemed to have arrived through the wrong route. For many, this will mean being held in detention centers and facing fast-track deportation. What makes this especially urgent is that many migrants in the UK who overstayed their visas or arrived illegally years ago may now be actively targeted for removal, even if they've built a life here. The new laws are designed to clear out illegal residents at scale, with more surveillance, raids, and enforcement across major cities. If you or someone you know is living in the UK without valid immigration status, or with an unresolved asylum case, it's critical to seek legal advice immediately. Because from 2026, being undocumented will no longer mean being unnoticed, it could mean being removed. As we step into 2026, the UK's immigration landscape is undergoing one of the most dramatic transformations in recent history. From stricter visa requirements and higher income thresholds to harsher penalties for minor mistakes and new fast-track deportation policies, these changes are not just legal updates. They are life-altering shifts that could affect hundreds of thousands of people currently living, working, or studying in the UK. Whether you're on a student visa, a skilled worker route, or part of a family settlement plan, these new rules could suddenly make you ineligible to stay, even if you followed the rules up until now. What's especially concerning is how fast and unforgiving these changes are. A missed English test, a job that no longer qualifies, a minor breach from years ago, these could all trigger visa refusals or forced removals. Many people assume they'll have time to adjust, or that they won't be affected. But the reality is, most won't even realize the danger until it's too late. The system is becoming stricter, more automated, and less tolerant of errors, meaning that even small missteps can carry huge consequences. If you're living in the UK under any type of immigration permission, now is the time to act, not wait. Check your documents, understand your visa conditions, and get professional advice if anything is unclear. These rules are not just targeting new arrivals. They are also going after people who've been here for years. Staying informed could be the difference between continuing your life in the UK or being told to leave. And remember, immigration law isn't just about policy. It's about people, families, and futures. So take it seriously and stay one step ahead of the changes. If you made it this far, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and let us know which of these changes shocked you the most or how they might affect you or someone you know. We put a huge amount of time and research into every video to bring you the truth without the confusion. So if you found this helpful, please support us with a quick subscribe. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. And don't go yet. We've got more videos packed with vital info that you won't want to miss.